Hey, welcome to Screenplay Junkie. My name's Drew Hellmich, and I'm a screenwriter. Film is a pretty sweet medium of art. However, before anything can make it to the big screen, it must start as a blueprint, text on paper. So if you're a fellow addict of film and storytelling, come join us as we take a look at various types of screenplays, short stories, and other source material that were crucial to the creation of the stories that we all love. I must warn you, though, there will be spoilers, so I do recommend being familiar with the title that's being discussed. Sound good? Cool. Then let's get started.
Guess what skin I was? The Reaper, John Wick himself, running and tearing it all up.
Yeah, I'm sure like 5-year-olds were peeing their pants as you killed them in the game.
There's a John Wick skin in Fortnite?
He's actually terrifying.
The John Wick skin.
He's fucking terrifying.
Okay. I don't know. I've never played Fortnite, so I have no idea.
Yeah, no, so all this whole week I was just running the skin, getting ready for the episode. I was too excited.
You were just amping up. You were trying to be John Wick himself.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way your aim was anywhere near as good as John Wick's in the movie. Because I actually looked it up. He shot like with 85% accuracy in the movie. Someone like ran the stats on every shot he fired in the movie, and he hit on 85% accuracy.
Nice.
Oh yeah. He's the boogeyman. He's the Baba Yaga. Do you guys know what Baba Yaga means?
I thought it was just boogeyman.
Well, in Slavic lore, the Baba
I actually have a stat line right here, Matt. On more stuff.
For what, though?
All right, so for his killing. So John's house, 19 hits, 1 miss, 95% accuracy, 11 headshots, 13 killed. The Red Circle, 52 hits, 13 missed, 83% shot accuracy, 23 headshots, 28 killed.
That's at the club.
Yeah, that's
the Red Circle's the club. Okay. Continue.
Oh, here we go. The compound. I'm just going to skip a little. Compound.
So this is when he's killing the kid, right?
Yeah, this is when he goes at the end.
Yeah, this is when he's at the warehouse killing the kid.
Okay.
Shots taken, 7 hits, 100% accuracy, 6 headshots, 10 killed.
And what, like 3 destroyed vehicles?
Yeah, and then the doc, of course, 16 hit, 100%, 2 headshots, 10 killed. With a total of 86.52% accuracy, he killed 77 people in the movie.
Yeah, those are some video game movie stats right there. Those are appropriate.
Just 77 people.
49 headshots. He's insane. That's actually
he's the Baba Yaga, but the boogeyman. But do you know what it means in Slavic lore?
No.
So the Baba Yaga in Slavic lore does not have 77 headshots. Instead, it's portrayed as a witch that lives in a house standing on chicken legs.
Oh, nice, dude. That's a good image of John Wick there. That's pretty terrifying.
Could you imagine if Keanu Reeves signed up to do a movie where he played a witch living in a house standing on chicken legs?
Chicken Run.
I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Hello, and welcome to Screenplay Junkie, episode number 12. Drew, Matt, and Bryan here. And today we got John Wick on the ledger.
John Wick.
Yes. The crazy action film.
He killed 3 men with a pencil.
That was probably my favorite part.
It's like the best line in the movie. It's in the It's not in the screenplay.
No, it's not.
It is not in the screenplay.
Right.
So
I know, right? Well, I mean, I remember the first time I ever saw this movie, and I was judging it pretty hard because I didn't know much about it. I'd probably just seen like trailers, but I didn't think it looked too good.
And
we all watched it together, I'm pretty sure. But I mean, yeah, like while it was on, I was blown away because this is a revolutionary action film.
It's great.
Yeah, I mean,
everything.
We'll get into like the IMDb stuff, like all the movie info, but like I think a big reason that it like redefined this action movie type thing is because the director was a stuntman.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that probably had a huge part of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Okay.
Well, let's just get into some of the details about the screenplay. So actually, it was originally called Scorn.
Scorn, starring Keanu Reeves, coming to a theater near you. Scorn. So annoying, dude.
Yeah.
It's an awful movie name.
Scorn?
Yeah.
What does scorn even mean?
Oh, I had it.
I have it right here. I can read it out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Scorn. It is a noun.
Thank you.
The feeling or belief that someone or something is worthless or despicable contempt.
Despicable. I think you were trying to say there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think that word really applies to the story.
And I knew I was going to botch it, so I tried my best.
You did a good job.
Yeah, I don't agree with Scorn as the title. I mean, if he wanted to title this with some sort of an adjective, it would, in my opinion, it would have to be revenge.
Yeah.
Or if you use it as a verb, it's to feel or express contempt or derision for.
What about, they could have just called it, you killed my dog, now die. What about that?
But you killed this man's dog. It's probably not a good line.
That's pretty good. That was pretty good Russian. The bad guys are Russian, right?
Yeah, they're Russian.
Let's get that guy.
Yeah. So Scorn, a.k.a. John Wick, written by Derek Kolstad. We don't have a script date for this, so we have no idea when this draft was written or what version this draft is.
But the writer did stick around for the entire production of the whole movie. He wrote the final cut that we see on screen.
Yes. And the script that we read was 100 pages long.
Right.
Yep.
Matt, you want to give us the IMDb info, please?
Yeah, cool. So John Wick, not released as Scorn, released as John Wick, was it came out on October 24th, 2014. I'll go ahead and read the logline now. An ex-con man comes out of retirement to track down the gangsters that killed his dog and took everything from him. I mean, they didn't take everything. They just kind of took his car and killed his dog.
Yeah.
They mostly just took his car and killed his dog. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all they did.
And his wife had died in the movie like days before.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was just not the right time to kill his dog and take his car.
Yeah.
They chose poorly.
Wrong place, wrong time to be a young gangster.
Wrong gas station.
Yeah. Everything does not have a price, young man. Just walk away. Just walk away. All right, so it was directed by Chad Stahelski.
Sure.
And David Leitch.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, those are some doozies of last names. But the Chad guy, like we said earlier, was a former stuntman. The Chad. He was a former stuntman, so that's why this movie's action sequences are so awesome.
Oh, dude, I totally agree. That's amazing. Like that. Yeah. That gives you so much insight as to why this movie is amazing as far as action is concerned.
Just every move, I was just like, whoa.
Like Keanu Reeves, yeah. Whoa.
And then weren't we discussing this earlier, Matt? One of the directors, he was the stuntman for Keanu Reeves in The Matrix.
Yeah, the Chad guy.
Yeah, that's sweet.
He was the stuntman for Keanu in The Matrix. Very cool.
Oh, okay.
But moving on, John Wick was written by Derek Kolstad. The stars in the movie are Keanu Reeves as John Wick, Michael Nyqvist. He's I think he's like Norwegian. He plays Vigo, like the lead bad guy, the older guy.
Yeah. And
he actually passed away in real life, so R.I.P.
Wow. R.I.P.
Alfie Allen from Game of Thrones plays Iosef, the young gangster who starts all the bullshit, who should have never crossed John Wick. And then Willem Dafoe plays Marcus. And that about wraps up everybody. And that's our dog.
Well, then we got the one guy from the commercials. Who's he again?
Which guy?
The guy in the commercials. Is that Allstate?
Dean Winters. Yeah, a.k.a. Mayhem from Allstate. His character's name is Avi, but I've never heard him mentioned once.
Yeah, right?
Mayhem. God, he's so good in the movie.
Isn't he like the most highest paid commercial actor?
I have no idea.
He deserves to be. All right.
I enjoy it.
The budget for John Wick was $20 million. I'm sure most of it went to Mayhem. Out of that $20 million. But worldwide, the movie's grossed over $130 million. So, I mean, this movie
nice job, guys.
Has been largely successful.
Oh, yeah.
I streamed it free, so I didn't add to that.
Yeah, I also streamed it for free. And did not end up with a virus on my computer either, so it's a win-win.
Nope. You better watch out. The Baba Yake is coming for you.
Do you guys want to Do you guys want to hear about the trivia on this one?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, run it.
Okay, so the writer who wrote John Wick, the draft that we read, based his story loosely on an incident that was inspired by this guy who was a former Navy SEAL in Texas, Marcus Luttrell, who's actually the guy who wrote Lone Survivor.
I know who that guy is, yeah.
So he was given a yellow Labrador puppy who he named Daisy after the member of his fire team or something. Like the names of their like last names all in order or some shit. And in April in 2009 at 1 a.m., he was awakened by gunshots, saw 4 guys drive away. His dog was dead in his front yard from a gunshot. He armed himself with 2 pistols, chased him down through 4 counties in his truck until police apprehended them. And they were taunting him, threatening to kill him, and that's why they killed his dog. And the Luttrell guy, who was the Navy SEAL, he said he spared their lives because he's already killed enough people.
Wow.
Yeah. Heavy shit, man.
What a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, like why? I don't know why those people killed his dog. Like he's a Navy SEAL, just leave him alone.
Why
leave
you
his
gotta
dog
kill a
alone.
dog, man?
It makes no
know.
sense, but that's a true story, and that's where this writer kind of loosely got the idea to write John Wick from. But
So
also,
John Wick is a real person? Wow.
he is a real person actually, because the name of the writer's grandpa, guess what, is John Wick.
I mean, that's cool.
It's an awesome name.
It is an
My
awesome
name is
name,
John
exactly.
Wick.
The guy was 88 years old when the movie came out.
Nice.
That's so beast.
And he's a complete pacifist.
Yeah,
He doesn't fight at all.
He'd never harm a fly. One last thing about the writer too is he had no actors in mind when he wrote the script for John Wick at all.
Okay.
Something you brought up earlier, Brian, is some parallel thing with John Wick and Keanu Reeves.
Oh, yeah.
In John Wick, the character Keanu Reeves plays, John Wick, loses his wife and his puppy. In real life, Keanu Reeves in 1999 had a stillborn with his girlfriend at the time, the love of his life. The baby died, obviously. And then 18 months later, the girl was killed in a car crash.
Jeez,
So,
man.
just tragedy everywhere.
Yeah, that's really sad.
And
Oh, God.
I could have sworn, you bet he read this screenplay, probably got caught up in the fields, at least I would.
He probably did.
Yeah.
Bow to John Wick, or I'm calling Keanu Reeves John Wick now.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine that.
Well, regardless, Keanu Reeves is a badass, and he killed John Wick. According to people on set, he did 90% of his own stunts in the movie.
Yeah.
Awesome.
To prepare for the role, he took weapons and martial arts training for 8 hours a day, 4 months.
I feel like I've seen videos of him going through a whole exercise.
Oh, the shooting thing?
Yeah, a whole shooting exercise. It's pretty cool.
Gotcha.
He lives it, man. He lives it. He's not just an actor. He lives it.
I've actually seen post interviews. I don't know if just because of the movie that just came out, but he dresses like John Wick. He still has his long hair, the beards, and the black suit. He was on Jimmy Kimmel. I'm like, he's
Right.
John Wick.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot the third one. They just released a trailer this week, right?
Yeah, Halle Berry's in it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they're like dogs
Nice.
are fighting with them. I gotta see it. But back to trivia. So like we said earlier, the director of John Wick, he was Keanu Reeves' stunt double in the Matrix movies. And all the fight scenes that are in John Wick, so since he's a stuntman, the action is amazing, right? But what you don't see in John Wick, you don't see him punching and kicking a lot of people, right? Everything he's doing with hand-to-hand combat is grappling, jiu-jitsu type action moves. And that's why they were able to shoot it in one continuous shot. And that's what makes the movie so cool, in my opinion. Because in other movies, there's just the quick action. You don't really see a lot of things.
It's just all of the
you almost
illusion.
get a headache. Yeah, it's an illusion.
Gotcha.
Whereas in John Wick, it's real action, jiu-jitsu going on that Keanu Reeves somehow was able to do.
Yeah, that's sweet.
He's an actor that himself. You want to know? Jeez, you want to know why?
I mean, dude, that's just. I mean, more than just putting in the work to memorize lines. Keanu had to memorize the choreography of all these jiu-jitsu moves. I mean, take the time to learn how to do the proper technique.
Right, and
learn how
he
to
had
fire
martial arts
weapons and
training in the
everything.
Matrix, but still, yeah, all credit goes to Keanu.
Yeah.
I mean, here,
Thumbs up for Keanu.
even more cool Keanu Reeves stuff with this one is the whole nightclub fight sequence in the nightclub. He memorized it on the day it was filmed. He just memorized it all and then did it. And he had the flu.
Wow.
He had the flu and 104-degree fever.
No big deal.
This has to be true because he's such a badass.
Let's do the scene. Let's do the scene. I'm fine.
And then the one last thing I got is that we'll end on a light note here, since some of that was kind of heavy.
Sure.
To get the dog in the beginning to like jump on his bed and like lick his face when he was like waking up in the morning, they put bacon grease on Keanu's face. So that puppy was licking bacon.
And then he washed his face with Proactive afterwards.
Yeah, he just broke out with acne immediately. So
100%.
That's just more dedication. Keanu Reeves, he will get acne to shoot 77 people in a movie.
Yes.
All right, yeah, that's all the trivia.
All right, nice.
Sweet.
Oh yeah, dude.
All right, so I just have this little thing. It's like I just got to get off my chest before we talk about the beginning of the movie. Like John Wick in the movie, you find out he's been retired from a life of killing people and crime for 5 years. Right? He's been out for 5 years, but he like lives in the same city, like buy everything. I just don't understand that.
That was pretty weird. Yeah.
He has a really nice.
You want to get away from the job.
His home is beautiful. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really modern.
I would like to live there, but I wouldn't want to live 2 miles away from my ex-crime boss.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense.
That's why he stayed.
Because he always knew he was going to come back. I don't know. I mean, he didn't know his wife was going to die. But
yeah, sure.
Regardless, his wife did die, and in both the script and the movie, he gets a dog.
Mm-hmm.
But in the script, if you want to talk about it, Drew, he's not in a city. He's somewhere else.
Yeah, in the screenplay, he's in like Pennsylvania, in the country. He's got like a farmhouse.
Ardmore, Pennsylvania.
And like whenever he has to go to the city, then to like confront the bad guys, he has to like take a train or like sometimes he takes a bus. I think. Right?
Yeah, it's a big commute. It's a big ordeal.
Yeah, right.
But I just wanted to mention a couple of details in the screenplay because I think Kolstad does a really good job as far as really conveying the state of grief that John is experiencing after he's lost his wife or during the process of while he's losing his life, because the house that he lives at is described as being like pretty much just run down, paint's peeling. He doesn't really tend to it. The inside of it is really disorganized and
junk everywhere.
Yeah, there's just clutter all over the place.
But we find out why too, because his wife is still alive.
Yeah, she's in a coma.
Yep. Comatosis.
I mean, even John himself is really different in the screenplay versus the movie. In the screenplay, he's 60 years old.
He's an old man, yeah.
What do we say in the movie? He's probably like in his 50s, right?
Yeah, Keanu Reeves is 55.
Yeah, so in the screenplay, he's like 60s. We understand that he's a former boxer and former military. I mean, yeah, he kind of just goes around like not really paying attention to the world. He gets mail, and he doesn't really recognize, or he doesn't really try and pay attention to the outside world. He's just really emotional, and he's having a hard time dealing with it, as you would imagine.
Even John Wick gets caught up in the feels in the screenplay.
Yeah. And then, as you know, if you've seen the movie, his wife passes away, and then a dog gets delivered to his doorstep. I mean, there's differences between the dog, but that's not really important.
In the screenplay, his wife has like a longer reason why she gave him the dog. There was this whole thing. The wife says like insinuating that he would kill himself.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And she said, "I want to see you sooner," or I want to see you later on rather than sooner. Yeah, right.
Yep.
I thought that was heavy, man.
Yeah, he just went to his basement and he starts drinking some scotch and like smoking some cigarettes, like things that he probably hasn't done in a while because these are in his basement.
He was about to pop like a bunch of Xans.
Yeah, it was Oxycontin,
Yeah.
Oxycontin,
painkillers, right.
But also, this was specific. The basement was the most organized place in the house.
Mm-hmm. His workshop.
Yeah, his work, yeah.
And we were talking about him taking pills. He was like about to take these pills while drinking.
Yes.
And then his doorbell rang, and then the dog showed up.
Right.
With the note from his wife, and that's why he chose to live.
Yes.
And then actually, I think, if you were about to just say, Drew, 3 years passed.
Yeah, exactly.
In the screenplay.
Yep.
3 years deep.
Which is obviously a huge difference from the movie.
Like you said with Kolstad, when the 3 years pass, he says again, like it's noticeably cleaner and organized now.
Yeah, he gets his life together. Yep.
Yeah, he's really accepting it now. But then we can lead into when...
Yeah, he really loves the dog. He's had 3 years to love this dog now. Whereas in the movie, he had days.
Right.
With just a puppy.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe like a day or just a few days at most, you know.
Either way, if someone kills your dog, like,
oh yeah, that's terrible.
You have every.
It's messed up.
Terrible.
You can do whatever you want to him. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not telling the cops nothing. But having 3 years is just like, it's a lot. I mean, there's a lot more love in 3 years.
I just want to go off track here for just a second because
yeah, let's do it,
Matt. When we were talking about just random trivia earlier, I remember you said something about how the producers did not want to kill the dog.
Yeah, they didn't want to kill it. They thought it was too much for people.
Which I mean,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, killing the dog is, I mean, whatever. Just killing in general, messed up, right? But the producers were not okay with killing a dog, but they were okay with killing like 75 people.
77.
It's just that mindset is just so goofy.
Book.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I just wanted to say that because I thought that was funny.
I kind of agree with them though. It's just like I don't want to see a dog die.
Well, yeah, nobody does.
Especially like a little puppy. That beagle's.
We're not going to talk about it either because it's too graphic. But in the screenplay, the dog dies in a worse way.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's very less humane.
So if you want to hear the detailed description, go ahead and find the script yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not talking about it.
We're not going to implant anything into your imagination.
All right, so let's fast forward in the movie to when John goes to the mechanic, who's played by John Leguizamo, who I didn't mention earlier, who plays it really well too. I like that scene where he punches.
Yeah.
He punches that one guy.
Yeah.
He's the best.
Yeah, like Yosef or whatever.
Brian, that
I
guy,
wish he had a bigger role.
He's in so many. Yeah, he was in John Wick 2, I think.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I think they bring him back. But regardless, so in the movie he goes and he talks to the mechanic, and he finds out who killed his dog and stole his car.
Right.
And the car's not there, so he goes home. Right.
ISF.
And then ISF. And then the lead bad guy, ISF's dad, Vigo, he calls the hit on John, and then like 14 guys show up at John's house in like tactical gear. And then there's like the first action sequence, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's just what we see what John Wick is capable of.
Yeah. In the screenplay, you find out what he's capable of a lot well before there's the hit on his house.
He has a giant bubble of just anger. And once he goes and finds out that his car isn't there, he goes like across the street. It's just like what I took it as.
Well, the mechanic...
Yeah, it wasn't across the street.
The mechanic in the screenplay tells him that they took it to another chop shop in town.
Yeah, okay.
And it's owned by like Japanese people.
Right.
Yeah. And then Wick just barges in there.
With no gun.
And
he was not even armed.
And of course, he takes them all out, and he gets his car back. And he proceeds now this car has like a stolen issue with it now, so like the cops are getting involved.
Yeah, the cops are after him.
Yeah, the cops are after him, and he has this giant chase scene with a chopper on him. He turns into Batman, flips on nitrous, and straight up just gets out of there and
goes.
He just outruns a helicopter. How fast do helicopters go?
John Wick.
I don't know, but they have to be faster than a car. Yeah, I guess it is John Wick, but
I didn't like either of those scenes.
I thought they were just ridiculous. In the
I
movie,
silly.
it was way
I can
cooler.
see why
Oh, go ahead, Brian.
I know. I was just saying, I can see why they left out. Yeah, it's just kind of like, whoa, what the hell's
whoa.
He's just.
Well, in the movie, I liked how the interactions with the cops were just smooth. Like the cops knew exactly who he was, what he was doing, and they just stayed the hell out of his way.
Right.
That's what I loved. Everybody knew who John Wick was.
In the screenplay, they had that though. Remember the cop?
Yeah, there was a couple of them. Like one of them knew it was up. The other two, or the other guy, was oblivious.
Yeah, because after this police chase, John takes his car back to his house in the country, and the police are smart, so they're cross-referencing who owns that kind of car. Mm-hmm. And John Wick's on the list, so these cops go to his house. The one guy goes to the door, and you know how in the movie they see like the body, and the cop is just like, "You working again, John?"
Yeah.
There's that whole scene in the screenplay. And then the cop even in the screenplay recommends that he doesn't drive that car again.
Yeah, right.
Because the cops are looking for it, and then they just like shake hands and move on, and then the cop's out of the movie.
Yeah,
that's so great.
It was cool. I mean, yeah, the whole underground world of these criminals in the John Wick universe is pretty awesome.
It's
John
Wick,
cool. And he's got a cleanup crew that just comes in and just deletes all fingerprints and just gets rid of the henchmen. You know?
I'll say this now too because I forgot earlier. They're actually making a show on Starz called The Continental, and it's just like I don't know if Keanu Reeves is going to be in it playing John Wick, but it's going to be about like assassins in this city doing all kinds of shit.
Oh, nice. Just milk it for all it's worth.
Will I watch it? I don't know, but you can make the decision.
Did you say this was a TV show?
Yeah, on Stars. It's going to be coming out soon. The Continental.
Okay,
and then also while Vigo, the Russian mob boss, when he finds out that his son has stolen John Wick's car and killed his dog, he's describing who John Wick is to him. And another hint that we get...
Oh, it's so good in the screenplay when he does that.
Yeah, like another addition that we get to John Wick's character is that apparently when John Wick was 15 years old, he lied his way to get into the Marines so that he can go and fight in Vietnam.
Why would he do... He just desired to kill people when he was 15?
I don't know, or he was just really patriotic and... was just exerting his nationalism, and
I guess so. I mean, Vietnam.
Just wanted to go defend the country and be part of the. I don't know, man.
Well, his reasons were his reasons. Just continue because the story gets more insane.
Let's see where we go. Oh yeah, and then also in the screenplay. So when the hit is put out on him, when the people invade his house, we already did say that in the movie when he calls like Charlie, the people, the cleanup crew that come and clean up the bodies. Yeah. Well, in the screenplay, John does all the cleaning himself. He's the one who wraps the body. He wraps the bodies in the plastic, and then he calls Charlie, and like they just come up and like pick up the body. That's it.
Yeah, they're just like garbage men that you put your trash on the side of the street. It's like that, but with bodies.
I was like, God, like John Wick's killing these guys and cleaning up. Like this is crazy.
The gold coins exist in both the screenplay and the movie.
Screenplay that he like plastered the bullet holes in the wall. It's like this man drywalled, like redid everything, painted probably. He can do everything. John Wick can do everything.
I mean, the John Wick universe just gives me like a really big like comic book type feel.
Yeah,
it's cool. Yeah, that's why they're making 3 of them.
Yeah, right.
So Drew was saying earlier that in the screenplay, the big bad boss guy Vigo, he like mentions to his son that John joined the Marines when he was 15 to go to Vietnam, but he gave some more description. I'll read it here. He says that John Wick specialized in force-oriented reconnaissance, meaning he often crossed over into enemy territory to both collect information and he would just like fuck with the enemy and kill people when he saw fit. And he said that John Wick earned 417 confirmed kills over his 5 tours as a Marine. And the majority were done by hand, by blade, and by small caliber firearm. So it's just like, what?
It's ridiculous.
400 people?
He's a full-on badass.
And then he just like came back to the city after all of his tours in combat and just started looking for work as a hitman and became the boogeyman.
It's just weird. It's just weird. Like John Wick's character is because like he's a bad person, but he's a good person too. It's so weird.
Somehow like maybe the writer just sees that he was like this horrible, like psychopath killer, but then he like met this girl, fell in love, like developed a heart.
I wanted to know more about her. Who the hell is she? Because everybody that he knows in the criminal underworld knows who she is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. In the screenplay, they all know her. I thought that was weird. And there was a lot of interactions that, like, if you guys remember in the movie, John, like, puts a quarter, the gold coin, into, like, this door, and it opens, and it's underneath the hotel, and there's this whole party going on. Right. Well, in the screenplay, when he's there, he's, like, friends with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And he's talking to all these people, and they're asking about his dead wife and shit, or, like, saying, oh, we're so sorry about your wife.
Right. I don't know. I just wanted to know more.
Yeah, it was weird. It was kind of weird. In the movie, they did it a lot better with just, like, being more ominous, and him only talking to...
Winston?
Yeah. Played by Ian McShane, or something like that.
Yeah, he's just like the guy who's sitting in the corner of the bar.
Right.
Yeah. Older guy. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I just wanted to mention that. Oh, yeah, go ahead, bro.
I just want to loop back to the Vigo and Isoff interaction when he's talking about John Wick, because I just loved, because Vigo is just absolutely terrified of what his son has done.
Right.
I love.
Yeah, he like punches him a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just reading from the screenplay, he goes, Vigo, this is not dialogue, Vigo lowers his empty glass as Isoff refills his glass with a trembling hand. So you could tell that they're just like terrified because he knows who John Wick is and what he's done. And Matt, you said he was the boogeyman. And as Vigo says, quote, John was the goddamn boogeyman.
Yeah.
Give him a name, request a method, and he'd get it done. Come hell or high water, by God, he'd get it done.
He could kill anybody.
basically telling Isoff
he's unstoppable.
And he is unstoppable in the movie, for
telling
sure.
His own son. Yeah, that was probably just like one of my favorite interactions in the movie, and even just when reading it, it was just like that. everybody knows who John Wick is, and he knows what he's gonna do to you.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to begin with the movie here. When we get to the club scene, and John Wick knows where Isoff is, the man that killed his dog.
The Red Circle Club.
The Red Circle, yeah. So it's him, the giant line, so it's like a bumpy club, it looks like a lot of fun. But Wick, of course, walks right by, goes to the VIP entrance, and there's a giant bouncer standing there, and of course, Wick knows him. And he just like looks, or actually, he's behind him with like a gun to the back of his head.
Yeah, he sneaks up on that mountain of a man. Yes.
He's like, long time no see, Francis, I think his name was.
Yeah.
And Wick basically just tells him to take the night off, and he walks away.
Right.
Yeah.
He takes like his security like earpiece out.
Just happy to be alive.
He spares him, yeah.
Happy to be alive.
Exactly.
That happens a lot in the screenplay too, if you guys remember.
It does.
It happens a lot, but whatever. Keep going, Brad.
That leads right into Wick going to like a locker, and this is when the bathroom scene unfolds.
Yeah.
Between what was his boy's name?
Victor,
yeah.
Who in the screenplay was like a cripple, if you guys remember.
Yeah, he had like a gimp leg or something.
Not in the movie, yeah.
But, so he finds him again. I don't know exactly like what punishment. He was just beating the hell out of him, giving him swirlies in the toilet.
Yeah.
And
in the sink, actually.
Basically, he kept asking where Isoff is and getting more information. And once Wick got what he wanted, he took his life. Yeah,
he wasn't so generous with Victor.
No, not at all. In the movie, he nastily breaks his leg. I remember seeing it. It's so... Like it buckles on the inside.
It's savage.
It's savage. But Matt, you want to take away from the rest of the club scene here?
Yeah, I mean, so after that, there's the whole fight scene, right? Where like there's the whole pool, right? John like finds Iosef in the like the hot tub thing and starts shooting at him, but he can't kill him because there's like the bulletproof glass. So then the fight goes upstairs in the club, and there's just all kinds of good kills. Yeah. John Wick just being John Wick.
Sweet stuff.
Running around, rolling around, like jumping into people, throwing them around while he's jumping into them. My favorite part of that scene though is how he he runs out of ammo against like the last bad guy that like that gets away, and then he like gets thrown off the ledge and he hits the ground and it looks like it hurts so bad. But then he pulls out another gun he had though the whole time.
Yeah, it was like his foot.
And I just didn't understand that. It's like, dude, you're John Wick. Like you got to know to pull that gun out before you get thrown over the ledge.
Where's the awareness?
Yeah, but
he catches a bullet though.
Yeah, whatever. That kind of wraps up the club scene though. After he faces off with that guy, he gets out of there. He goes back to the hotel. The doctor patches him up.
Yeah.
The screenplay unfolds a little different.
Yeah, well, the screenplay just had stuff before. It just had more like events, I guess.
Yeah, it's just really quick. It's not as extended. John Wick basically just goes through the front door, pays the bouncer, just gives him a couple $100 bills, and like the other visitor or the other people that are trying to go in are like complaining. So he didn't even care. He was just showing himself. Hey, I'm walking through the front door. But I felt like the bouncers were not even like really looking for him. None of the staff was trying to keep an eye out for him. No. There were no bodyguards there.
He was just smooth as silk, handing out money, just like getting a really good table so he could scout everywhere.
Exactly. He's just scouting. So he's sitting at a table where he can see both levels, like the upper level and the lower level. He's drinking. He requests like cheese and crackers.
Didn't this remind you guys of like James Bond? I thought he was like kind of like James Bond with like his tactics here. How he like snuck in. Yeah. He was just hanging out, like being a hot shot, drinking. Like all he needed to do was like quickly get laid and then come back and save the day, and he would have been James Bond.
He's just handing out a bunch of money, and then that's when he sees Victor. He sees Victor and like two guys walking through the dance floor or something.
Well, Victor was limping because in the screenplay he's got this limp.
He remembered the limp and follows them into the bathroom, and it's pretty much similar to the movie. He just kills all three of them, but the description as far as him killing Victor was pretty brutal.
Yeah, it just took a while.
Yeah, it did. He's like bashing his head against a toilet and
it was a slow death.
Throwing himself in the toilet in the water. Really?
Yeah. Is that a squeaky toy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
God, real.
And then he takes Victor's cell phone, and then he just calls Yosef, and he gives him like a biblical speech.
Oh, dude, that part's badass.
It was scary. It was like so weird. It was scary because it was so biblical.
Well, even before that,
if that made any sense.
Yeah, some like Genesis stuff he reads.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even before the phone call, I should say that Victor lets Wick know that Yosef is like everywhere that Vigo goes. Like
under house
he's
arrest.
just keeping him under tabs. Yeah, like he's not allowed to go anywhere.
Yeah. I had during that phone call in the screenplay, John said, "Make your peace with God," in Russian, and then he goes, "For the devil shall see you soon."
Yeah.
I just love it so much. Like I just can imagine.
John Wick is coming for you. He's coming for you.
Fucked.
The boogeyman is coming for you.
Oh man. I love how he can speak Russian too. That was great when they introduced that as well. Just showing more that John Wick is a badass.
And he followed through in the screenplay and the movie with that threat to Iosef.
Yeah.
Different order though in the screenplay and the movie, because you know in the movie he kills the kid.
Yep.
And then he kills the kid's dad, the head bad guy, and it's actually flipped in the screenplay.
Right.
I like the flip in the screenplay because like the kid's the main character in the movie. You know, like or in the screenplay and in the movie, like you think he would be the last one rather than the boss. I don't know.
Right.
I just feel.
No, I agree with you. Yeah.
Well, just to like regroup, so everyone knows like. Oh, go ahead, Brian.
The movie, like I saw, just like got shot. Like that was it. I'm like, that's it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna like torture him, like he did the poor man in the bathroom.
It was quick.
Yeah, he got a humane death compared to everybody else.
But the movie wasn't over yet.
No, it was not over yet.
Before we get there, though, I just want to say, like in the movie, I think before he kills the kid, right, he goes to the church.
Yeah.
And there's like the church is like the front, right, for all the money. It's where the guy stores all his stuff and he burns it down.
Right. I thought that was cool. That's creative.
Really cool scene. Yeah, he shoots the priest, but like not to kill him, and then just keeps him alive and drags him to the safe.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. But in the screenplay, it's not that creative. Where the guy keeps all his money is just at a bank.
Yeah.
And what John Wick does is just he like rushes in with a mask and just pretends to be like robbing it, but then has the bank clerk just take him to the safe. He kills like 2 of the bad guy's goons who are there.
Right.
And then he just sets fire to the whole place.
Yeah, and then he watches from like a cafe from across the street.
Yeah, and then he has the whole encounter with the big bad boss where they like crash, right? He crashes like a truck into them.
Yeah.
And then somehow like Vigo's car like goes into a store.
Right.
And then he just dies from the gunshot wounds of when John was spraying their car. It was when it was driving by or something.
Yeah.
So he's dead. Yeah. In the screenplay, he kills the father first before then going for the son.
Yes.
And the father tells him the kid's like leaving the country though in the screenplay.
Yeah, he's going to Moscow.
He's leaving the country.
Boarding a ship.
Like Al Pacino in The Godfather, just leaving the country.
Yeah, so now Wick is he's going after Yosef on the ship, and it's docked in like New Jersey.
And this is the screenplay.
Yeah, in the screenplay, and the ship is just like armed to the teeth with a lot of men, and a captain has like a pretty significant role in this scene.
I bet in the movie, I'm sorry to cut you off, but in the movie, the kid's dead already, and he's going for the father.
Yeah,
because he killed his friend, and it takes place at docks, so they probably did that because in the movie he's going after the kid at docks.
Yeah.
So yeah, correlation.
Yeah.
Well done, writer.
But I mean, yeah, the captain and the Yosef like are just sitting in like a cabin, and he says, "Hey, you stay here. You're not going anywhere until this is over. Until we leave, like, until we're like a certain amount of miles off into the ocean."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, I mean, John Wick just shows up, and you don't really get to see a lot of his perspective of the fighting. You really just get to see the perspective of Yosef and the captain just sitting in the cabin, hearing like the screams and the gunfire,
just men dropping like flies.
Like that. I thought that was kind of cool.
It was super cool.
So the fear of them, yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, because at that point too, while reading the script, you knew John Wick was just this ultimate badass reaper, and he if he wanted you dead, you were dead.
The Reaper,
Right. And I mean, eventually John Wick just makes his way to where the captain and Yosef are stationed. And Matt, do you remember the captain battle? I don't really remember it.
So the captain gives the kid Iosef a gun. He's like, "You know how to use this?" And he like tells him, "Don't shoot me, though."
Yeah.
And then John Wick like appears around a corner when the two of them are walking, and the kid accidentally shoots the captain, like the guy that's on his side.
Oh, I remember that.
Then the captain and John Wick have like a hand-to-hand combat thing where like this captain guy is actually like apparently like a good fighter because he's like strangling John, but then John bites his nose off. John Wick bites. He bites his freaking nose off. Yeah, and then snaps his neck.
Yeah.
What a series of events right there. Just biting a guy's nose off and snap his neck. No big deal, John Wick.
Speaking of just the word snap, even in the screenplay, John Wick snaps a lot of necks and wrists, I noticed.
Oh, yeah, in the wrist. Yeah, he was snapping wrists all over the place. I was like trying to think about how that happened. I don't get it.
I don't know.
Snap a wrist? I don't know. That's insane. But of course, the way that I keep forgetting his name because it's such an
Iosef.
I don't know.
Because it's so weird. I mean, what does he fall into like a cornmeal and like suffocates?
Yeah, well, it's like a big cargo ship that they're on, and it's transporting grains.
Yeah,
and somehow they get into like where the grains are, and John shoots something, and he falls, and then like the grains just come on top of him, and he gets buried.
I thought he was like on an upper deck. I thought he was like up on an upper deck, and he fell out of a window and landed into the bin or whatever that was. That was containing the grains.
It was flowing, like the grains were coming in. Yeah,
it reminded me of A Quiet Place.
It did, yeah, right in the movie when the kids fell into the grain.
Yeah,
nice.
I mean, that's horrible. So you're right, Brian. When you said in the movie where all he does is just get shot. I mean, in the script, he definitely gets served his justice.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, he gets buried. He suffocates because like that's like a slow death. You just. Can't breathe, and then you just fade.
The most important bad guy gets a nice easy death in the movie, and his boy that was just the henchman gets a nice slow.
The two D-bags, they get what they deserve.
Yeah. And then, as you know in the film, after the last battle, John Wick is like driving in an SUV, and he crashes against just a random wall, and it happens to be like a veterinarian's office or. Just a place that's housing dogs.
He like watches the quick video of his wife to get motivated.
Yeah.
And he goes like, to the vet.
So yeah, he goes in there and then there's like a couple dogs actually, and he just chooses one. And they just walk away on a bridge like in the night. In the screenplay, it's very similar. He's in an SUV and just crashes, gets out,
goes to the vet.
Yeah, to like treat himself.
Patches himself up first though. He like takes the time to do that. Like it says it's like it reminded me of the movie The Martian where he has to like pull out shrapnel from his chest.
Oh, okay.
And then he did that and like patched himself up. But then he saw the dog, and it was only one dog.
Yeah, only one. Yeah.
And it was scheduled to be killed the next day.
Right? Was that in the movie at all?
I don't remember, but
I don't think so. No,
I don't think so.
I mean, because that was like
it was
more.
Dark.
That was more emotional in the screenplay for sure.
Dog Miko.
Yeah, so he took the dog with him.
What was his name?
I like how he tied. I like how the writer tied that.
I like how he gets the dog. He gets the dog back. Yeah. After he kills 77 men, he gets the dog.
Yeah, and then the writer now decided in John Wick 3 to have the dog be fully grown, killing people. If you saw the preview, which I saw the preview, and I was pumped. I was ready.
Like I said, I was telling you guys earlier, but I watched John Wick last night, and we almost did the back-to-back with John Wick 2 because we were so amped up.
Double feature. Yeah, it's just like fucking let's keep watching Keanu Reeves kill people with headshots.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's funny, my roommate said he watched it and he thought there's even more killing. He's like, the third one, it's going to be so much killing.
It's going to be over the top.
Probably.
I know the budget. So the budget we said earlier for the first one was 20 mil. It doubled for the second one, like more than doubled. And this third one is probably over 100 million. Jeez. You would imagine. Just because the franchise is so successful. Everybody has seen John Wick. And then people like
I'm a John Wick fan now.
It's awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a beast. And Keanu Reeves is just a cool person, so I like supporting his movies. Even though his newest movie, Replicas, right? Ooh.
I don't know, man.
It got awful ratings. It's like a less than 20% on Rotten Tomatoes.
You have your good ones, you have your bad ones.
True.
Did you just say it got awful, like his last name, Keanu Reeves, reviews?
Shut up.
Or did I just hear that?
I don't know. I think you're hearing things, man.
It's a pretty funny Keanu's reviews. Keanu Reeves movie reviews.
I rate this movie whoa. It really blew my mind.
So what do you guys think? You want to talk about overall thoughts or last thoughts?
Yeah, I'm all about it.
Okay. Whoever wants to take it first.
Yeah, I'll run it. So I'll just say it again. I probably said it like 10 times. John Wick is the ultimate badass.
Yeah.
I was saying I should be John Wick for Halloween next year. Except to grow out my hair.
Yeah. And a beard.
That's the only thing.
You have to get a beard,
too.
Yeah,
the movie, the screenplay, is one of those real kind of similar ones, other than just other big events. But I had a lot of fun with this one. From the movie was action-packed, and just reading was action-packed. It's just different reading about killings rather than seeing it, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's just definitely seeing it's just more involving.
Especially because most of the action described in the screenplay we read was replaced by stuff when the director came in.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Using like gunshots, I guess. But yeah, just John Wick. I'm loving it. Still need to watch John Wick 2. I'd love to watch it, and then, damn, I would love to see it in John Wick 3 in theaters. I'm all for that. It's one of those movies I think I would go see in theaters.
I'll go with you.
I mean, I'd probably see it. Yeah, why not?
Oh yeah. But that's me for this episode.
Nice.
All right, cool. I mean, I'll just go next. Overall, I mean, I love the movie. It's awesome. It's redefined action, kind of, because just those consistent long shots showing John Wick doing headshots, throwing people, throwing himself. It's just so cool to watch, and you can't take your eyes off the screen when you're watching that. Reading the action, this is the first real action script I think all of us have read, truly an action movie.
Yeah.
It's different. Yeah, a lot of the scenes in the script, didn't make the movie, but it makes sense because, when you bring in a director that's a stunt man, you have to let him take control of the action sequences.
Yeah.
And it made the movie awesome, so it obviously worked. Another thing I just want to touch on is I liked John better in the screenplay. I liked how there was the 3-year gap of getting the dog, and it just makes more sense, having a 3-year relationship with a dog and then losing it and going on a rampage.
Right.
Kind of makes more sense. And I mean, I get how in the movie he just lost his wife too.
They were just trying to stack it up.
I mean, you only have so much time in a movie, so you have to make shit happen, I guess. I liked how John was older in the screenplay. I liked how he was out of being a hitman for 30 years as opposed to 5 in the movie.
Yeah.
It kind of made more sense to me. But overall, I love it. I mean, the whole concept is cool. The whole underground criminal hitmen world is super cool. Mm-hmm. It's kind of stupid they're making a TV show on Stars about it, but
I agree. Yeah.
But it's cool. So I mean, that's why they're doing it. They're just gonna ride the flame of John Wick until it burns out. But it probably never. Yeah. It might never. It might never burn out. In 10 more years, we might be talking about John Wick 12.
They made a Fortnite skin. What's next?
If it's on Fortnite, it's
John
popular.
Wick is an icon. John Wick is an icon.
He is an icon, definitely.
I mean, yeah, man, I agree. High-octane film, high-octane action. I agree that it's redefined the action genre. I think it's maybe the equivalent to what Lethal Weapon did in the 80s.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just seeing this kind of chain reaction of action movies coming out now are trying to almost mimic what John Wick tried to do, right? I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I feel like action movies that I have seen that have come out after 2014 have kind of taken a John Wick-esque kind of approach to action films. Mm-hmm. I think what I enjoyed most about this screenplay was just the emotion that Kolstad was able to convey. I think he did a really good job with that. And then Matt, like you said, yes, I think this was the first action, complete, total action script I've ever read. So that's what I was most excited for, to see how he handled scenes with just strictly action, whether it was controlling what every character did as far as, deflecting or, popping off shots, whatever it could be. I mean, I think all he had to do was have a nice template there, so that all the other people, like the director, the stuntmen, all the choreographers, all those kinds of people could come in there and take the vision that Kolstad had already established and, make a nice collaborative action sequence.
Well, I did, after I watched the movie, I kind of went back and kind of just read over the action scenes, because the first time, just the way reading it, I mean, he does a good job explaining it, but when watching the movie and then going back, I just had more of a mental image, and it just made it that much more just satisfying to read, because I was just oh hell yeah, I remember this, yeah. I get to see the fighting more mentally in my brain.
That's what's cool about all the movies we cover on the show.
The visual.
You know, like reading the screenplay
just like
and
going
watching
back
the movie. It's
yeah.
cool for all the movies we do. It's awesome.
That's so nice.
And I mean, I can't preach this enough. I'm sorry, Brian. Were you talking?
No, I'm done.
I don't want to cut you off. Okay, I was just gonna say, you know, I feel like I always preach this on this show, but it's really hard to. I mean, most of these. I mean, pretty much all of the screenplays that we talk about on this show, we've seen the movie first, so it's really tough to set the movie aside and really try to understand and envision what the screenplay is trying to convey without comparing it right to the movie. I mean, yeah, I really don't have anything else to say about that. It's just really hard to try and look at it from a fresh perspective.
Oh yeah, it's always fun though. Look at everything from a different side.
I mean, yeah, John Wick. If you're ever trying to look for any help on trying to write an action sequence, I would say look at John Wick. It'll help a lot.
And I like, too, how just the writer got the inspiration for this from a real-life thing. I mean, that's always cool to hear.
It is cool. I think that's another theme that we've found just from all of these scripts that we've been reviewing. We have found the kernel that has led to the script itself, so it's always nice to hear what the real-life experience that led to it.
Yeah, man. You know, you pay attention. You pay attention to what's around you. You might end up with $1 million screenplay one day.
No matter what platform you're using to listen to us, I just want it to be known that we're available on iTunes, Spreaker, and YouTube. So if you like our content, please be sure to follow all of our channels so you can stay in the loop with new episodes. Also, feel free to give us a rating and leave us comments, or send us an email at screenplayjunkie.show@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. Also, if you have any recommendations of screenplays we should read, movies we should watch, or really anything, let us know on any of our platforms. We're always looking for other things to check out. On the next episode, we're going to talk about the 1994 goofy Jim Carrey comedy, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. Thank you for listening. We hope you can join us next time.